Let us now move on item 12, follow up on elements inscribed on the list of the convention. This item focuses on the case of the Aalst Carnival, an element practiced in Belgium and inscribed on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity in 2010. As I understand, this is the first time that the committee is asked to examine a specific case in the context of the follow-up inscribed elements. Before giving the floor to the Secretariat, allow me to recall that this item is on the agenda of the present session based on the decision of our Bureau taken on 21st March this year. This decision specifically requested, and I quote, to raise the case of the Aalst Carnival in the context of the follow-up of inscribed elements on the list of the Convention, which includes the possibility of removing elements from the list of the Convention in accordance with paragraph 40 of the operational directives. Mr. Secretary, could you please kindly present this item to us?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. This item is indeed included on the agenda, as you've just mentioned, of the present session based on decision 14-1, Bureau 4. It also follows on the debates of the committee at its 13th session in 2018, during which the need to reflect on the follow-up of inscribed elements was recognized, decision 13-9. While the title of the item refers broadly to the follow-up of inscribed elements, the document focuses specifically on the case of the Aalst Carnival. Since the inscription of the Aalst Carnival on the representative list in 2010, complaints from the public and concerned parties have been received by the Secretariat in 2013, 2018, and 2019. Such complaints have been particularly numerous following the 2019 edition of the Aalst Carnival, with 28 letters and emails, as well as an online petition gathering over 22,000 signatures, received by the Secretariat since March 2019. These letters have been made available to members of the committee since 28 November 2019, whenever the sending entity gave its specific consent. So why is this specific case brought to the attention of the committee? In its assessment of the case, the Secretariat took into consideration a number of aspects in order to bring it to the committee. Firstly, the severity of the issue and the seriousness of the issue. Secondly, the repetitive nature of these issues. Thirdly, the large number and the diversity of correspondences received. Fourthly, the reaction from the communities concerned. And fifth, the lack of response, official response from the State Party until 5th of December 2019. Regarding this latter consideration, allow me to bring to your attention that on December 5, 2019, the permanent delegation of the Kingdom of Belgium to UNESCO sent a note verbale to the Secretariat requesting that the Aalst Carnival be removed from the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity at the request of the City of Aalst and behalf of the community of the Aalst Carnival. An addendum to the working document LHE/19/14.com/12add, was published on 7th of December to reflect this request. Madam Chairperson, dear members of the committee, I now wish to present the Secretariat's assessment of this case. But before that, allow me to underline that this assessment is not an attempt to determine what constitutes intangible cultural heritage for the communities of Aalst, nor does it aim to prescribe whether and how these communities shall practice their own living heritage. This is an assessment of the conformity of the Aalst Carnival with UNESCO's values, the definition of intangible cultural heritage according to Article 2 of the Convention, and the criteria of the representative list. Regarding the conformity of the element with the founding principles of UNESCO, the Secretariat recalls that the Convention was adopted under the auspices of UNESCO by its General Conference. The conformity of the Convention with the founding principles of UNESCO therefore constitutes an essential aspect of its object and purpose. The display of representations that overtly contradict some of the core values underpinning the existence of UNESCO affects not only the credibility of the Convention and of the Committee, but also of the organization as a whole. Regarding the conformity of the element with the definition of intangible cultural heritage, the acts observed in several editions of the Carnival are encouraging stereotypes, mocking certain groups, and insulting the memories of painful historical experiences, whether they be or not intentional, contradict, and I quote, the requirements of mutual respect among communities, groups, and individuals. As such, the element contradicts Article 2 of the Convention and therefore thereby no longer satisfies criterion R1. Concerning the compatibility of the element with the purpose and criteria of the representative list, since its inscription, the element has triggered strong protests from various communities that felt unduly mocked and attacked by some of the representations present in the Carnival. The inscription has not encouraged dialogue among communities and appears to have even fostered mistrust between and among communities. As such, the element contradicts Article 16.1 of the Convention and thereby no longer satisfies criterion R2. In light of the considerations and assessment presented, the committee could consider that the element no longer satisfies criterion R1 and R2. The draft decision 14Com12 therefore proposes that the committee removes the Aus Carnival from the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in accordance with paragraph 40 of the operational directives. Such decision is also in line with the request for removal submitted by Belgium on 5th of December 2019. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis, for this detailed presentation and assessment of the case at hand. I understand that this draft decision has been extensively discussed and agreed with all committee members. The Bureau agreed this morning that we move directly to the adoption of the draft decision as a whole and by consensus. If members of the committee, states parties, or observers wish to make any statement, I invite you to do so after the adoption of the decision. Let us therefore now move to the decision. I understand that there are two amendments for this draft decision, both of which submitted by Austria on behalf of the committee and were discussed this morning at the Bureau. I understand that committee members have reached a consensus on these amendments too. Can we see the draft decision on screen, please? May I suggest that we proceed by adopting the amended decision in its entirety, then as a whole? I see none objections. We'll go back to the top. Then I declare decision 14Com12 adopted. Austria, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would like to thank all committee members for their support and the excellent cooperation. And I specifically, I understand I was not heard, so excuse me, I'll start again. Thank you, Madam Chair. At the outset, let me please specifically thank all committee members and the Secretariat for the great cooperation and the understanding of all in this rather difficult issue. I would like now to make a statement of principle, which is a statement that I make on behalf of Austria, but which I feel very strongly personal as well. Austria is strongly committed to preventing and fighting racism, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia in all its forms. In March, we have reacted swiftly and decisively when the Secretariat asked the Bureau to inscribe the Carnival of Aalst on the agenda of the committee. Let there be no mistake. The manifestations we have seen on some floats are clearly and unequivocally anti-Semitic. They are textbook anti-Semitic, as though taken straight out of the Nazi propaganda outlet Der Stürmer. This has not been the first time Those deeply racist and anti-Semitic imageries have been a recurrent feature in the carnival in the last years, before and after inscription. We regret that the community has not addressed this issue. And let there not be any mistake neither, this does not concern an issue of freedom of speech, the right to satire or mockery, nor does it relate to the regulation of humor. We as the committee do not tell the carnival community how they should practice their tradition. They should continue to do so as they see fit, but they cannot do it with our, that is UNESCO's blessing. The case of the Secretariat has been made out clearly and convincingly why the Carnival of Owls should be removed from the representative list. Again, let there be no mistake. There is no arbitrariness, no lack of legal certainty. We have the legal basis, and we would even say we have the political and moral responsibility to take this decision. These manifestations contravene clearly the requirements of respect among communities, the very definition of intangible heritage, the founding principle of UNESCO, and the purpose and spirit of the Convention and the representative list. In view of the absence of the community addressing this, there's a real risk that the committee or UNESCO is seen as condoning these behaviors. On the eve of the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz extermination camp, Austria, in the face of 65,000 Austrian Jewish brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors that have perished in the Shoah, and hundreds of thousands of Holocaust survivors made refugees, Austria and the Austrian people cannot be seen as complicit. We want to see a clear line, red line drawn. As Europeans, with anti-Semitism, racism still rampant, and Jewish communities and other minority communities under attack, we cannot allow these manifestations to happen in Europe with us turning a blind eye. Austrians turned a blind eye some 85 years ago, when our Jewish communities were under attack. We will not turn a blind eye again, never again. Thank you, Señora Presidenta.
Thank you, Austria. Now the floor is for Colombia.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Creo que esta es una de las decisiones más importantes que salen como resultado de la reunión de este comité intergubernamental. Considero que es muy trascendental porque señala un precedente. El precedente de la posibilidad de retirar el reconocimiento a una manifestación, a una práctica inscrita en el registro como patrimonio cultural inmaterial, cuando esta práctica vulnera el respeto de los instrumentos universales de derechos humanos. La inscripción en la lista del patrimonio cultural inmaterial por parte de la UNESCO implica que a esa manifestación se le da una visibilidad universal y la UNESCO no puede otorgar esa visibilidad cuando se contrarían los principios y objetivos de la organización. Eso menoscabaría la credibilidad del organismo, especialmente cuando lo que se vulnera son principios como el de la dignidad humana, principios como la no discriminación, principios como vulnerar el respeto mutuo entre las comunidades, grupos e individuos, y principios como hacer mofa o burla de la memoria histórica de sufrimiento de los pueblos. Por eso yo creo que hoy aquí se ha tomado una decisión histórica, unánime, y es de resaltar y además de llevar a conocimiento por parte de todos los estados para que las manifestaciones culturales, las prácticas inscritas se mantengan dentro de los principios universales de respeto de los derechos humanos y sean un factor de acercamiento y de paz entre los pueblos. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Colombia. L'Arménie, la parole est à vous.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Les questions soulevées par le cadre du Carnaval d'Alost qui touchent à nos valeurs fondamentales communes et aux objectifs de la Convention doivent susciter de sérieuses préoccupations. Et la délégation de l'Arménie souhaite faire une déclaration à ce propos. En examinant ce cas, elle entend réaffirmer sa plus ferme condamnation du racisme, de l'antisémitisme, de l'islamophobie et de la xénophobie et son engagement à combattre en toutes circonstances l'intolérance et toutes les formes de discrimination. Cette délégation estime inacceptable les représentations racistes, antisémites et xénophobes qui ont marqué de façon répétée diverses éditions du Carnaval d'Alost. De telles représentations portent atteinte à la dignité humaine et aux valeurs de tolérance et de respect mutuel portées par l'UNESCO et auxquelles l'Arménie est particulièrement attachée. Elles sont également contraires à la Convention pour la sauvegarde du patrimoine culturel immatériel. Cette délégation fait également le constat que l'inscription du Carnaval d'Alost à la liste représentative n'a pas rempli l'un de ses objectifs essentiels qui était de favoriser le dialogue entre les communautés. Et pour toutes ces raisons, la délégation de l'Arménie a appuyé la décision de retirer le Carnaval d'Alost de la liste représentative du patrimoine culturel immatériel de l'humanité. Je vous remercie.
Merci, l'Arménie. Jamaica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jamaica views with deep concern and disappointment the situation that has led to this decision to remove an element from the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. It is even more disappointing that the organizers of this event have chosen to use freedom of expression to justify the persistence of negative and offensive representations. That the state party has requested removal from the list is welcomed, however, with some reservation. We are gratified that the decision just adopted has been done unanimously. We must uphold the principles of the 2003 Convention, especially as it speaks to mutual respect. This is why we have, without reservation, supported this decision in its entirety and express our gratitude to Austria for spearheading and coordinating this effort to make a statement that we trust will be heard around the world and will make a difference going forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Jamaica. Por favor, Guatemala tiene la palabra.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Primero que todo, queremos agradecer a la Secretaría por el documento preparado, el cual consideramos resume con especial precisión y de manera concisa la situación problemática que supone el Carnaval de Alost, ante las repetidas ocasiones en que el mismo ha servido como plataforma para la burla, el irrespeto y discriminación de ciertos grupos que con razón han visto atacada su sensibilidad y dignidad. Guatemala, comprometida con los valores de respeto mutuo entre los pueblos que defiende la UNESCO en general y la Convención en particular, condena firmemente las manifestaciones de odio que este carnaval ha permitido. Al no contar con mecanismos que permitan evitar la reincidencia de este tipo de manifestaciones, Guatemala concuerda, como previsto en las directrices operativas de la Convención, con que se accione el mecanismo previsto para retirar el referido elemento de la lista representativa al dejar de cumplir con los criterios por los cuales fue inscrito el elemento. Somos conscientes que retirar un elemento de la lista representativa creará un precedente, pero uno positivo, que enviará un mensaje claro a la comunidad internacional sobre el compromiso de la UNESCO y sus Estados miembros a respetar los valores fundamentales en los que creemos. Saludamos la posición de Bélgica manifestada a través de la comunicación enviada a la Secretaría, en la que indican querer retirar el elemento de la lista representativa, lo cual refleja un compromiso del Estado parte con esos valores que mencionaba anteriormente. Concordamos plenamente con el contenido del proyecto de decisión del documento presentado por la Secretaría, enmendado teniendo en cuenta la comunicación del Reino de Bélgica expresando su voluntad de retirar el elemento de la lista representativa. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Guatemala. Cyprus, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Cyprus wholeheartedly agrees with the decision taken and wants to emphasize that all state parties should diligently avoid unpleasant situations like the present one in the future. Sensitive historical and political issues an element might directly or indirectly touch upon should be treated with the utmost care, while, most importantly, unacceptable gender, social, racial, or ethnic discriminatory and offensive bias have no place in this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyprus. Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Madam President. Azerbaijan supported this decision with a clear conviction that inscription of the intangible cultural heritage should serve for the dialogue and mutual understanding. It should be a sort of sometimes a bridge for reconciliation, and in other words, it should rather unite the communities than divide. And my delegation joins the previous speakers in condemning all manifestations of discrimination, including anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and xenophobia. And it is unfortunate and regrettable to hear that an element inscribed on the list of the convention supports such forms and impedes dialogue among communities and provokes sentiments contrary to the spirit of the convention and the purposes of this list, and which goes, as already also mentioned by the Secretary of the Convention, goes in contradiction with the criterion R1 and R2. At the same time, my delegation recognized the efforts of the Belgian authorities and their request to remove this element from the list of intangible heritage. This alarming case raised at least 3 questions for all of us. First, it is a methodology of evaluation. We raised this issue when we spoke about the evaluation body. Second, the absence of clear mechanisms and procedures of delisting and transfer of one element from transfer of the element from one list to another. And this is something important that we will come back to this issue on the item 14. Third, missing evaluation element in this process. As every listing in this convention goes through the evaluation process, subsequently the listing should be logically to pass the same procedure. This is also the case with the World Heritage Committee and Convention, sorry. So we would like to raise all this issue on the agenda item 14. And I would like to ask the committee and the Secretariat to be mindful of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. Kuwait, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As an Arab and Muslim country, Kuwait welcomes this decision against all forms of racism. In fact, in 2005, before the item was even inscribed in 2010, the Arab League of Education, Culture, and Science Organization, which is made up of 22 Arab countries, condemned the Carnival Atlas as it was offensive to Muslims. We hope to learn from this process and make sure that future files are in line with UNESCO values and this ICH convention. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuwait. Poland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are many memories, many broken memories, and so I, Poland, would like to emphasize that it very firmly opposes all forms of discrimination, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, hate speech, and intolerance. Poland is committed to prevent and combat all incidents of this character inter and worldwide. We attach also our utmost importance to the promotion of intercultural and interreligious dialogue and mutual respect and understanding, what is one of our top priorities and in international fora. These values are particularly important in UNESCO. Therefore, we thank Belgium for these explanations and its decision to request for removal of questioned elements to not increase tensions among communities and controversy around the carnival, which is itself is of such importance for the local community. The tradition cultivated and celebrating seamless for centuries. We would like to underline urgent and need of development of effective and transparent mechanisms for monitoring and follow-up of elements inscribed on the list in 2003 Convention. In relation to the examined document prepared by the Secretariat, the protection of intangible heritage under the Convention can only be granted on the basis of the principles set out therein. We see the importance of development of the operational guidelines to address properly such problems like possible change of the nature of inscribed elements, as well as misusing them intentionally or not intentionally against the principles and values stipulated in the 2003 Convention, in particular under its Article 2 and against the UNESCO spirit and goals. In this context, let me highlight the need of constant capacity building and raising awareness activities. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Poland. Kazakhstan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a nation with a very diverse multi-ethnic community, including an active, small but active Jewish community, and as a nation whose soldiers participated in liberation of Auschwitz, Treblinka, Majdanek, and other sad places which I myself had an occasion to visit much more than once. We join other delegations in condemning all forms of discrimination, including racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and xenophobia. And we support, obviously, the decision adopted. At the same time, we should recognize the decision of the Kingdom of Belgium to agree to removal of the element from the list, and the Belgian government's willingness to remain within the spirit of UNESCO and the Convention. And we sincerely hope that we will work together to avoid such sad occasions, such sad cases as we have today, from having them in our agenda in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Djibouti, now it's your turn.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Djibouti s'associe aux différentes condamnations qui ont été prononcées par les États membres du comité, mais également, Djibouti souhaiterait souligner que ce genre d'événements ne peuvent se produire qu'en l'absence d'un certain mécanisme de suivi des éléments qui sont inscrits sur la liste représentative, mais et surtout proposerait de mentionner ou bien de trouver une solution qui pourrait prévenir la répétition de tous ces genres de manifestations ou de comportements en inscrivant dans les formules même de demande d'inscription quelque chose qui puisse prévenir ou bien attirer l'attention des rédacteurs ou bien des demandeurs des États parties pour qu'ils puissent déjà être sensibilisés à cet effet. Deuxièmement, il faudra, je pense que chaque État partie est responsable vis-à-vis des éléments qui sont inscrits sur la liste, sur la liste représentative, et il serait souhaitable que nous, États membres du comité ou États partis à la Convention, soyons plus sensibles et plus vigilants à de tels comportements de la manifestation. Je vous remercie.
Merci, le Djibouti. Donc, avant de passer au point suivant, moi, je veux reconnaître et féliciter le travail fait par le secrétariat en ce qui concerne ce sujet, et aussi les discussions, réflexions qui ont été menées au sein du bureau pendant ces mois, et parce que, définitivement, la décision que vient de prendre le comité va marquer un point très important pour l'avenir de la Convention.